The fat acceptance movement, also known as fat pride, fat empowerment, and fat activism, is a social movement which seeks to eliminate the social stigma of fatness from social attitudes by pointing out the social obstacles which are faced by fat people to the general public. While many people in this group have determined and spread through social media that obesity is not as bad as we have always thought, or that science has proven, many have embraced the word fat and deemed the word obese to now be a slur. Many won't even say the word in their home.
Said to me, well, have you eaten? And I said, yeah, I had some pizza earlier. And they said, you need to eat something like a bit more healthy. Now, there are a few words that I don't allow when somebody comes into my house, and healthy is one of them.
In fact, the NAAFA, the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance, which was started by a white man who actually had a fetish for oversized women and started the group to bring acceptance to him and his in hopes less people would make fun of him for his choice of women. Well, in 2022, it's ran by women, fat women. Let me just read a little bit of their philosophy. The NAAFA have contested society's stubborn generalization that associates fatness with disease and poor health outcomes, and push back against the assumption that fat people have little regard for themselves or their own well-being. They argue that thinking about obesity as a disease or medical risk, such as having severe effects from COVID-19, contributes to the stigma because it positions larger bodies as drains on an already taxed healthcare system. To sum that up, they don't like that the numbers show, factual numbers by the way, show that being obese causes taxpayers more money. They also do not like that fatness, or obesity, is connected to disease and poor health, because it makes them feel bad. I shall read on. The NAAFA mobilizes the term, in quotes, fat, in its fight against weight discrimination and fat phobia in all aspects of life, including in employment, healthcare, and education. Similarly, as social scientists, we use the term fat rather than the deeply problematic medical term obesity, which causes harm to people under the guise of benign objectivity. These groups, and what I have shown you on this channel many times of the fat activists on TikTok saying the word obese causes harm, but interestingly enough, they never talk about the harm that obesity causes. I mean, how could they? Many of them do not even believe in science when it proves obesity comes with risks. Virgis Hovar, who I'm making a video of later, has said if science does not satisfy over 60% of the population who are obese, then we should just boot it out the window. This was said in her interview with Ulta Beauty, titled The Beauty of Fatness. We now have doctors that are telling us that obesity is just a myth and has absolutely no health risks. We have doctors who write books titled Health at every size, where they say obesity can be completely healthy. Bloggers saying there is no such thing as healthy food, everything's created equal, and we should never let these white males stop us from living our lives with their racial BMI chart. Well, do you know what is starting to bring some of these fat activists down? No, it's not the use of the word obesity, it's heart attacks and heart complications. Yes, and many of these fat activists are staying silent, looking the other way and continuing to perpetuate this disgusting movement started by men that wanted to get their hard, that obesity is perfectly healthy. And honestly, it pisses me off. I will be focusing on two women that were part of this movement of we should just accept obesity. Two women that I feel glorified it, at least one glorified it and changed. And two women who are now sadly no longer with us. Two women that express their opinions in different ways, but I have different opinions on each one. Let's start. If you ever go down the weird lane of fat talk on TikTok, you will find there are many very young fat talkers who are dancing around expressing how obesity has not hindered their life at all, and they can do anything a skinny girl can do.
If you're a fat person who is not trying to lose weight, I love you. Keep it up.
And why is that? Because the older ones are either hurting and can't get up or dead. Because as you age and stay obese, the issues you will have come on pretty hard and thick. I want to start with the oldest fat activist who sadly left this earth at the age of 42, Kat Pase.
Told about obesity, we're in the middle of an epidemic, extra body weight causes, heart problems, diabetes. What do you say to that?
I think it does definitely fly in the face of what most of us tend to believe and what our common sense maybe even tells us. But I think that the science isn't actually as clear-cut as we like to believe, and there's not really quite a consensus yet about the real relationship between weight and health.
fat studies scholar at Massey University in Palmerston North. Her research and activism attracted controversy and, in these people's opinions, bullying from people who would constantly say, stop spreading the message that obesity is a positive condition, but she wouldn't listen. Steven Crowder, a political commentator mostly known as the Change My Mind guy, where he sets up a booth and asks people to change his mind about controversial topics, actually infiltrated a fat studies conference at Massey University. His experiment was to see if these people are so accepting to everything stupid. He decided to write a paper, say a few trigger words, and hopefully be accepted in this community. So he dressed up in a fat suit, slapped on a wig, and wrote a bogus paper to hopefully be accepted into the Fat Studies Conference, based on a poorly written, full of trigger words paper. And of course, he had to have the Pikachu cup and the Trump/Pence must go ornaments in the back to really sell to them and gain their acceptance. And he did. They absolutely loved his video essay.
And I knew that largely because of my fat, I was guaranteed at least a certain amount of space. You may believe, wrongly as many people do, that fat is a threat to your life. But I would argue that in many ways, it may save your life. I used to feel guilty about eating certain foods or drinking certain soft drinks, but I don't anymore. Every scoop of Ben & Jerry's, or whatever your preferred food may be, I would like to see it restructured, and it should be seen as an act of resistance, not only against homophobia, but against fat phobia.
And guess whose Fat Studies conference this was? That's right, Kat Pawsey, the woman who would rather have people feel beautiful than know the realities of obesity. A woman who dedicated her whole career to keep people under the impression that obesity is a good thing. A few weeks later, after Crowder's show aired, Dr. Pawsey passed away. They did not release the cause of death, but they said medical condition, which many are theorizing that it was an obese-related issue, but they don't want the exact cause getting out because of the work that she did, and many people on the internet can be ruthless. And if it was someone else who was just minding their own business and being fat who passed away, I would understand that. And you might be thinking that this is a very insensitive video, but I can't feel sorry for someone who promoted obesity but then dies at a pretty young age from it.
One thing that's really in vogue in the literature right now is we see a lot of articles about what they call the obesity paradox. And this is research that's finding that obese people and even morbidly obese people have just as good of health, or sometimes even better health, than people who are in the healthy weight ranges.
I do feel sorry for the people who loved her because she seemed to be loved by many. It's too bad that she decided to be so stubborn when it comes to obesity and protecting her feelings that she died from the condition that she said was so beautiful and harmless. Allegedly, of course. I also want to remind anyone that is saying, well, she's passed away, we shouldn't talk about her. I disagree. We should. Because this is the end result of thinking you are untouchable. That science is not real because it hurts your feelings, and just because you feel great at 20 and you're 300 pounds doesn't mean it will stay that way. So with that being said, rest in peace, Dr. Pawsey. The second woman I wanted to talk about that was all things body positive and fat positive is Jamie Lopez. Jamie Lopez weighed around 840 pounds. She was a total glamour chick. Nails, hips, heels, hair, honey. Loved femininity, loved getting her nails done. Well, one day she went into a nail salon and broke the chair. She was humiliated and they told her, sorry, we can't do your nails here. You can't come back when you're this size. She felt horrible about this and started her own nail salon for morbidly obese women who wanted a safe place to get their nails done where they won't break chairs. Her career took off. She even scored a show on Super Size Salon on WeTV.
Are you ready to go? And why do you look like you about to just throw up everywhere?
Because I'm terrified, Shannon. I haven't left the house in 2 years. And I just learned to walk again.
I actually talked about Jamie and her salon a long time ago on this channel, and Jamie only saw the thumbnail and was absolutely pissed at me. It was a whole thing. I haven't told you guys this, but she recently apologized to me over Instagram and told me about her show as well. And just yesterday, I added her new show to shows I wanted to watch and talk about with you on my channel. So when I logged onto Instagram to see Jamie Lopez dead at 37, it crushed me. This one is so different for me than the Kat Pawsey day and really left me heartbroken over a woman I really didn't even know, but fell for, honestly. Though me and Jamie had that internet battle, I personally think she was a very nice person. I know that she was probably a bit insecure, and can you blame her? She obviously gets constantly bullied over the internet, but Jamie really turned her life around. She lost over 400 pounds, which was what my video was gonna be on.
But don't think that I've just been sitting around doing nothing, okay? Because that's definitely not the case. I've had some critical events happen in my life, you guys, that made me want to embark on this journey. And in less than a year, I completely turned my life around. And I'm really proud of myself.
She lost almost a whole Tammy Slayton, and I was extremely proud of her when I saw that, and had a huge amount of respect for her to just message me and apologize. She put in so much hard work, and I was so happy to see that she was getting a handle on this horrible condition called obesity, morbid obesity for her. I would have never guessed that she would be the one that passed away, and Tammy Slayton is still going strong. I am in literal shock about this, but I really shouldn't be. She was morbidly obese for years. She couldn't even stand for the opening of her salon, and it really just angers me that there's people out here manipulating minds of people who have an obvious food addiction to not worry about being obese and how beautiful it is. Telling people that obesity doesn't have any detrimental effects and there's such thing as health at every size. But the word obese does. Go on everyone, keep eating. I was just thinking to myself also that maybe, just maybe if Jamie and others weren't getting positive reinforcement for their horrible behaviors toward food, she could have lost weight maybe sooner. Not to mention the men that help feed this mentality that obesity is beautiful and the bigger the better. That's right, she used to hang out with Tammy Slayton's ex-boyfriend, the B King, whose slogan is the bigger the better. I'm not making excuses for her. Everyone has a choice to step away, but the movement of love yourself the way you are, obesity is nothing to be scared of, and men who glorify it for their own benefit definitely doesn't help someone who's addicted to food and overeating or binging. It just saddens me that she actually was doing the work and did so much work, but it wasn't enough. Sources close to Lopez tell us she'd been hospitalized in Las Vegas and then died over the weekend as a result of heart complications. I really do mean rest in peace, Jamie, and I feel for her family. She really seemed like a good person, and I'm so upset that I didn't make that video showing her hard work when she was still alive. I truly hope that more people in this community see that obesity is nothing to be happy about. It is not an empowering thing to eat yourself to death. So please take care of your health, and I will see all of you guys next time.